Okay, everybody, I just wanted to go over ReforgeLite with you. I feel like some people aren't using this add-on or they don't know how to set it up. So just to show you that it's on here, let's scroll down. All right, right here, ReforgeLite Classic. You can find it in Curse or WoW Up, whichever one you prefer to use. So we're going to look at the Reforger here. I took away all my Rogues Reforges here. So everything's going to be fresh. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to select your class's preset. So my rogue is combat right now, so I'm going to select combat. But if I selected assassination, you'll see like spell hit cap goes above expertise. The weights are a little bit different here. If I go to sub, weights are vastly different here. Um, Melee head cap is important. Spell head cap less so apparently. Um, and then the expertise soft cap. So going to switch it back to combat here. Your target level is always going to be raid. Um, I mean, on a fresh tune, I guess you could do heroic dungeons, but it doesn't matter. You should always be prepping to raid anyway, even if you're setting up a brand new character. If you want to bring it into a raid, you're going to need to set it up for a raid. So stat weighting here, I'm just going to use the basic ones for this. But if you use like WoW Sims or something, you could sim yourself and change your weights based on that. I mean, this uses really high numbers, but like on my mage, it uses numbers like 5, 4, 3, 1, whatever. It doesn't use like huge weight numbers like this. I don't know what the exact difference is, but I mean, just know that a number with more weight gets, priority. Um, and then you have your caps here, all right, and you can add these on if you want. Um, so add a cap. So right now I have my expertise cap at least 781. So you have at least, at most, and exactly. So the problem with at most is that it will go below that cap if it can't reach it exactly. Um, and exactly, it will try to exactly get you that cap. Sometimes possible, sometimes not. At least is the best place to get you as close to the cap. You will probably go over, but it won't be super detrimental to the rest of your stats. And as you can see here, so once I hit the soft cap of expertise, which is 781, its weight goes down to 0. So that means that the add-on will not prioritize getting me more expertise after that. So hit, I need to be spell hit capped as a rogue because of poisons, which is kind of dumb and puts you as a disadvantage over certain other melee, but that's okay. And again, at least. Now here you can see that, so the weight of hit goes down to only 100 after I hit the cap, which is still below, other secondaries, but it's still valuable because rogues are a dual wield class and therefore their white hit cap is, so soft, the yellow hit cap for a melee is 8%. The white hit cap for a melee is like 22 or 27 or some shit like that. So um, even though like once I hit spell hit cap, my yellows and my poisons are guaranteed to hit, it's not devalued because I still need, to I can still increase my cap up to the point where my white hits will miss less with the offhand. Um, and then you come down here and you can choose your calculation speed. So here, I just tend to do fast because it makes the most sense. So right now, so this box is where my stats are. So right now I have 1128 hit. Or I'm sorry, this is like where it thinks I'm going to be. Okay, so spirit you can't get rid of. Not the 90 spirit anyway. So here 1128 hit. That's one above that. Uh, like this is what like this is the end product. Because if I look now, like my total, so it's going to say my expertise is 781. Currently, I'm 80 over that. My hit is 1128. Currently, I'm 526 over that. Okay. Crit is 618. Currently, I'm 373 lower than that. It's going to lower my haste a bit because I'm currently 260 above this point, and it's going to increase my mastery here. Okay. So I'm just going to hit calculate, and it probably won't change anything because this is the last thing I calculated into my rogue when I reforged before, so the add-on remembers. Um, but I just kind of want to see, and you see here it says import WoW Sims, so you can, like I said, go to WoW Sims, sims your character. It'll give you custom weights that you can put in, or you can import the sim. There's a place on there to click it to import the sim, and then that'll just give you everything. So okay, look at that. Nothing changed here because, like I said, this has already been calculated. So I'm going to click show, and so show's going to tell me what reforges I need. So I can't reforge this because these are both agility trinkets. It doesn't want me to reforge either of the stats on my thrown weapon, and it wants all these other reforges done. You see how it's unchecked? That means that they're not done. It gives me a total gold amount that's going to take to reforge all these, and then I just click reforge. It automatically puts everything in the window, reforges it, checks it as it goes. Okay, and then here are my final values. So if we check my character sheet, that puts me, we're going to go to spell for the hit, so at 17.01% spell hit chance, I'm one hit rating over. We'll go back up, 26 expertise, both main hand, offhand. Um, and the haste crit mastery values are, whatever. Um, but, that's the best way to do it. And then let me show you, uh, like on my mage, we'll see how that's a bit different. Okay, we're back here with my mage, and I'm just going to show you how this is a little bit different. So you see still set raid 3, you got arcane, you got fire, or I'm sorry, you got frost, and you've got fire, you've got 15% and 25% haste, and I'll go over that in a second, but I'm going to select the 25% haste because that's where I'm at right now. So if you can see the stat weightings are, well, I guess they've changed it a little bit because it didn't used to have the, was I on that one? No. So now it's got like the -1. That doesn't make any sense because negative is the same as 0 prio. So, but if you see here, like instead of the rogue, which is using like 3-digit weights, it's using 1 digit. Hit is 5, haste is 4, crit is 3, mastery is 1. Okay. So obviously, most important thing for a mage is spell hit cap, 1742. Um, and then we have the haste cap. So for mage, it's a little weird. So there's multiple haste caps for a mage. I can manually do it if I want, which that's what the WoW sims would do. 15% haste, which is 2 extra ticks on a combustion, um, and then 25% haste, which is 3 extra ticks on a combustion. There are other breakpoints because there's also breakpoints for like ignite ticks and stuff, but those aren't as important, which is why it doesn't have like a preset for those. And also like right before you get to the 50% is where you get an extra ignite tick, and then at 37% or 37.5% haste, you get the second extra tick of ignite, which is pretty much impossible to reach at the moment. Actually, no, it is actually impossible to reach. So at 15% with extra 2 combustion stacks, here we're gonna reset that. We're gonna calculate here. So just to get me to 813 haste, so it's gonna dump a bunch of stuff. So right now you see, so haste is set to 4. Hit is set to 5, and then it'll go to 0. Haste is set to 4, and then it'll go to 2 once I reach the haste cap, assuming that, like, not that haste on a caster is generally wasted, because, you cast your spells a little bit faster, blah, 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 but certain things are more valuable. So in a fire mage's case, obviously, crit is going to be a bit more valuable than haste between the 2 cap breakpoints. So see, this is having me drop a bunch of haste to get a bunch of crit, which would be good if I didn't have the gear to hit the 2005, which is the 25% breakpoint. However, if we calculate this out, and again, I didn't do the reforges on my mage because I don't keep gold on him all the time, so I wouldn't have been able to redo them without sending gold, and that just seems stupid to do for the video. Um, so we're going to do this, get to this 2005, which is where I'm at right now. Um, so I'm exactly here. And so another thing you can do is if and it's probably never going to happen because it's so much more valuable for a Shadow Priest that it's not like we have an overabundance of Warlocks. But if you know you're going to get Dark Intent in your raid, okay, you just click this and you see how it changed the value down to 1574 because Dark Intent gives you 3% haste. So if I knew that, say, if I was in a run with Money's Lock, uh, I was going to be getting his Dark Intent, I could just recalculate right now, and then it's probably going to have me reforge a bunch of haste back into crit. It might have me, like, depending, it might have me move around a couple of other stats. It just kind of depends. Um, but we'll see how this pounds out. Like, I know I have it on fast, but it's not. Yeah, say it's having me drop the 431 haste and putting it all back into crit. But I'm not going to be getting Dark Intent, so that doesn't really matter. And anytime you want to like reset it, you can just do it that way. All right, and I did want to go over my shaman a little bit as well, because my shaman is resto. I am actually dual resto specs. I don't have an LE spec. But on top of the resto stuff, I just wanted to explain right here. um, Elemental Precision, which I do not have, but obviously an LE Shaman would get. And there are restos that take it for the mana back you get from Lightning Bolt, so like to not miss, so you don't waste your mana trying to get mana back. I just don't have it in either of my specs right now. But we're just going to talk about that. So, with all 3 points in it, if I had all 3 points, it would say grant you spell hit rating equal to 100% of the spirit gained from items and effects. Okay, so if we look into the Reforger here, so presets, elemental, enhancement, restoration. Okay, so restoration doesn't really have any like cap set. I'm going to set my own cap here. So I'm going to set my own haste cap. So it doesn't have preset breakpoints, and I'm not sure why, but there are preset breakpoints for Resto Shaman. So at 916 health, you get an extra tick on your Earth Living weapon if it goes on people, um, and this is for non-goblins. Here, oh, they have like a whole separate sheet is why. So that would be, you know, um, basically, so 916 is your first breakpoint, and that's Earth Living Weapon. 2005 is your second breakpoint, and that's for 2 extra ticks on your Riptide, which is super important. So I set the haste down here. So you see how like all secondaries are equal for the Shaman? I don't think that's quite correct because I feel like Mastery is so kind of unimportant for them. Like their Mastery's okay, but it's based on the health of the target. So you're not going to be getting like, yeah, look at their Mastery here. Yeah, increase the potency of your spells based on the current health level of your target. Lower health levels are healed for more. That seems like a weird mastery for me. Like, I guess if I was main tank healing all the time, then it would make perfect sense for that to be like calculated out like the same. But I would actually be simming this. I'm not doing it currently, but I would actually usually be simming this. Just to see exactly what weights I'm going for. But so far, I've got the 2005 for the haste rating. Um, So let's see here. Let's manually calculate that. Oh, yeah, hold on. Okay, I'm not 100% sure why it wants me to drop some. Oh, because I can't hit that that in my current gear. So right now I have 1621, so I can't hit the 2005. I guess I'm missing quite a bit of haste from gear. Um, I do have a lot of spirit gear that I could. I mean, if you see, I've got 2,883 spirit. That's a lot of spirit. So I could go down on the spirit gear, or I could change the weighting. So like say I put 120 on the spirit, and then 120 on the haste, and then after cap make haste 100 like the rest of it. Okay. Oh, not 1,000. 100. All right. And we're gonna calculate this out now. It's not having me change anything because it doesn't want me to. So I'm pulling my other secondary stats pretty much exclusively into haste unless the piece already has haste on it. Is the unfortunate part. And like I said, I'm not really bissing my shaman at all. Like I'm missing quite a few pieces. But I mean, you see the point. So I can't really get more haste than I have now. So I can't actually hit this breakpoint, right? Um, and that's pretty unfortunate. But again, like I said, haste isn't super wasted on a caster between the breakpoints because you're casting your spells faster. Now, past your higher breakpoint, it does become less and less. Obviously, all stats, all secondaries have a DR. So eventually, it does start to devalue itself. But like for what I have right now, um, I'm reforged just fine. I just can't hit that second haste, which is unfortunate. And the when I went over the precision, so spell hit cap here 1742. So the thing is, if I've got 2883 spirit, that means if I move over to the elemental precision talent, my spell hit becomes the 2883. So I'm way above spell hit cap. So if you're dumping spirit, which I know a lot of healers are doing now, as the fight gets faster and stuff, you don't need as much MP5. You can reduce your spirit, but I would not suggest reducing it below the 1742. That way, because as far as I know, all healers have this kind of talent. Maybe not paladins. Paladins might. I'm not sure, but all healers, I believe, have a talent that does this same thing, where they get the spell hit for their spirit. So I would not take your spirit below the 1742 spell hit cap threshold. That way, in case you have to do secondary DPS as opposed to healing, you do get that kind of. Oh, and I don't think Pallies get it because obviously their DPS spec is melee, so I retract that. But the three caster secondaries should priest, shaman, and druid should all get a spell hit talent in their DPS tree. Um, in their caster DPS tree that converts spirit to hit rating. So I just would not go below the 1742 if I could help it. Um, and also, obviously, you probably want like swap pieces. So like if I were going LA, I would drop these, or I would drop this for this, or what have you. I don't have a spirit trinket currently, but you got tsunami and stuff like that, which obviously wouldn't be good for DPSing. And okay, so there's the shaman, and I guess since I've already done, a melee, a caster, and a healer, I'll go ahead and do a tank too. Hold on. Okay, and we are back with my Death Knight tank here, who is still tier 11 geared mostly. Pretty much like I bought a Valor relic, and I got the trash cloak or trash choker during some trash farms, where I got him up to honored. Um, at the beginning of the phase, but I haven't really rated on him. So you can see most of his shit is all like tier 11 bis. Um, so we'll take a look at tank reforging here. So again, presets. So for blood, you got dungeon and raid. And I assume the dungeon just has a bit more, yeah, more expertise and shit like that. And raid, okay, because like in dungeons you're contributing much more to the uh, DPS, right? Because you're 1/5 of 1/4, really, depending on your healer, of the DPS power in the dungeon. So like being able to hit and not miss or get parried or whatever is a bit more important. And then you've got Master Frost and Obliterate Frost, which you shouldn't use Obliterate Frost anymore. It's a terrible spec compared to Master Frost. And then you've got Unholy. So I'm gonna go with raiding tank. So I don't want to go avoidance. So unfortunately, avoidance stats are still kind of shit. But dodge chance, yeah, that's crazy. Okay, but we're not gonna go avoidance here. So a couple things. So hit, I'm resetting to the melee hit cap. So you see how the dual wield hit cap is like, oh, 27%. So I was right. So it is 27%. That's what I mentioned on the road. But I'm just going to do the regular melee hit cap. I don't need anything more than that. So you've got expertise soft cap, which is 26, and that's for you never get dodged. Okay, but to not get parried, you need the hard cap of 1412, which is 56 expertise. I don't think I can hit that, but that would obviously be the goal, like to still be able to, like to still have your haste and stuff like that, so you can actually like do damage because your runes are coming off cooldown and you're not just sitting there for large swaths of time with being able to do nothing on the fight, but you don't get parried at least. Like that doesn't make much sense. So generally you're going to go for the soft cap so you don't get dodged anymore. But all right, so let's see if I could even reach the hard cap. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that from tier 11 bis, I cannot reach 1412 expertise. I don't know this for a fact. I just assume that it's true. So after the calculations are done, yeah, not even a little bit. 594. So not anywhere close. However, that does mean obviously I can reach the 511 soft expertise cap. So we're gonna do that. Um, I don't care about taking away dodge parry right now because again they don't work as well. Like obviously they're still a thing. Like obviously you still have the chance to dodge, you still have the chance to parry. Their DRs are very very high. Um, And to be honest with you, so I am in obviously like so these weights are weighted super heavy for mastery. So that's why my mastery is projected to go so fucking high. But if I wanted to, so let's say I wanted to add another. Um, oh, that's that. Hold on. Ugh. So it's looking like you can only do two stats at a time. Um, as far as that goes, like as far as like tracking. So it gave you like if then statements where like you try to calculate everything down to like the last iota because honestly for most classes it doesn't matter quite like that. Um, like you don't need quite everything that you're looking for. But okay, so let's say I weight haste just as good as mastery. Okay, let's see how that changes the way this wants me to reforge. Like for most classes, one stat or possibly two stats are going to be about the biggest you want to do, right? Okay, so because I put both of those above where hit and expertise are, because again, as a tank, you don't need quite the hit and expertise, right? So I was trying to pick up my here. So hit. So let's say I want to maintain the melee hit and the expertise cap so that I'm not missing. It's especially important to not miss with Death Strike, right? Because you want your heal, you want your bubble. So let's say 250, right, is going to be the expertise, the dodge cap, and the hit cap, and then they're going to go down to 0. So keeping that in mind, um, let's see what it does here. So yeah, so by hit being at 150, it just deprioritized it because these were so much higher, right? Okay, so hit to 948 and haste. I'm only increasing my hit and I'm taking my mastery down a lot to reach that hit cap, right? Okay, so let's take it back down to, so say I don't want to do 50, say I want to do 150 or 140, right? And we'll put hit back down to 150 and expertise back down to 150, and then we'll calculate that out and we'll see how it goes. And this is just me manually messing with weights, just taking some guesstimates here. But like I said, you can sim. You can do a pawn preset. You can import that if you use pawn, which I used to use exclusively, but I don't use it that much anymore. All right, so now we're back to where it had me before, where I was mastery heavy, because mastery is still way the fuck up here. But if I put mastery, let's say I put mastery down here, and we'll calculate that out. If we make mastery equal to haste, but still far above crit, dodge, and parry, right? Way above crit, because crit doesn't matter for tanking DK. But we have the hit and the expertise above, so that the caps go first. Uh, okay, see. So again, I'm not getting the caps because I was too focused on building my mastery. So my hit cap, like I still had a pretty good chance to miss with yellows, and even doing this, I still have a chance to miss with yellows. Now that's going to put me, so I could replace. All right, so let's show this. Okay, so let's say I want to do this, right? All right, so that puts me at 948, and I'm looking for 961. So let me get on my headless horseman's mount over here and go over to the auction house. I can just do one hit gem. And so like right now I have an expertise gem in there, I have a mastery gem. So this is like based on like, so I have hybrid gems in places where it's going to give me a 30 stamina soccer bonus. Right there I just deemed the extra mastery worth for, because it's a yellow socket, right? And in a red socket you want a purple. So right now I have expertise rating and stamina, and my expertise is a little high but not too much. So what if I want an expertise hit gem here? So let's do that. So it's going to be purple. Right there. Accurate Demon's Eye. All right. Well, I can't buy one right now because again, I haven't played this character in a while, so I don't keep any gold on him. But I guess I probably should have checked that. But so if I did that, that's going to bring me up to that soft hit cap that I want. It's going to maintain my current level of expertise because I'm just going to lose a little bit of stamina, which isn't a huge deal. But I mean, this add-on can help you with like gymming and stuff like that too, because you'll be like, oh, I'm this close to this, or if you happen to look and you're like 10 above or 30 below. Like those are your two options, because you can kind of, mess with these weights and stuff to kind of see like where you can get close enough below, where you can get close enough. So like I have at most, oh, that's the other thing. So I have at most 961. Now let's change it to at least. Let's calculate at least the 961 melee hit cap and see what it's going to tell me. But you 10 to 1, it's going to take some of like the dodge and put it into hit, as opposed to, I'm going to guess, mastery at this point. Let's see. Let's see what it does. See? So it reduces my mastery, it reduces my dodge, it increases my parry, and I'm guessing that's to redo something to bring my hit back up. So I'm only going to be going down 33 mastery, and I'm going up so much in parry. So hold on, I'm going to change the parry and the dodge down to 50, because again, um, avoidance stats just aren't worth as much for a blood DK. Obviously, this is going to be very different for a warrior or a paladin, um, where they're not meat shield tanks, and so avoidance is more important for them, along with their block, in order to not die. Okay, so that changes the calculation, where I'm losing mastery to gain a bit more haste back and some hit, and you see my score is actually going up here instead of down. So before it was going down because I was adding 100 parry, and parry is devalued. Um, but now, instead of gaining that much parry, I'm gaining enough hit to hit cap. I'm gaining a little bit of haste, losing a little bit of mastery, losing dodge, which improves the score. Um, so I do that, bam. All right, and now I've got the 8% soft hit cap I was going for. I've got a bit more expertise, which is fine, because again, expertise is not wasted, because you're lessening your chance to be parried, right? Because tanks obviously go from the front of the boss, therefore parry is a real chance. So currently I have 7% chance to be parried, but all right, and that's it for the DK. And a little addendum back here on my shaman, a little addendum to the hit cap thing. Um, so I've already redone my spec back to where it was, but I did get elemental precision, and I forgot to mention, so 2883 is my grand total spirit. But if you look at the talent, it says any spirit gained from items or effects. So that means, procs, food, and your gear. So I have 150 or 155 base spirit from being a level 85 shaman. Um, so that means the 2728 number right there is what's actually going to be added into my hit rating, which will actually be, like I said, I just did it. It's like 26.22% chance hit. So super over hit cap. Um, and like I said, some restos do it, and honestly, a lot of hybrid healing classes do it because they need to be able to hit. Not only because there's parts in DPS fights where you don't have anything to heal, so you might as well do a bit of damage to the boss, um, or just like I said, LE shamans get mana back based on lightning bolt with this talent right here. Toleric Currents, your attunement to natural injuries cause your lightning bolt spell to restore mana equal to 40% of your damage dealt, right? So if I'm missing with those lightning bolts, I'm not getting that mana back. I'm actually getting a negative because I'm using the 1200 mana to cast the lightning bolt and not getting anything back from it. This is like really good to use on Domo when you have your um, buff up to do 200% damage and stuff. Like it's a really good tool to use, which is why there are resto specs that use this. I'm not currently in one in either of my resto specs. This one is a more of a 10-man spec, and then this one is like the 25-man spec that I use, so I can like shock and heal. But so yeah, so when you're looking at reforging, remember, so like it's telling me that my grand total spirit is 2883. So I said, don't take it below the 1742, but it would actually be slightly less than that, because you have to subtract the base amount of spirit you get just for existing as that character at level 85. So that's just something I wanted to say for people to keep in mind when looking at the reforging for healers.